I am Sam Tate, aka the Top Nut in Top Cuts, and I am joined today by the savior of bacon himself, BaconSaver.
Hello, my name is Bacon, actual name, so that makes things super easy. I've been playing this game for a hot minute now, 8 days according to YouTube.
8 whole days.
8 whole days. And not even all those 8 days. I played a game 8 days ago. So I have like two games to my name.
Well, that means you have probably double the experience of like half the people you're going to end up playing at Nationals anyway. So, you know, that probably checks out.
Okay.
But I put out the call because I was very perplexed about what deck to play for Nationals. I've been in the weeds, as it were, paralysis with my analysis of the format, and I needed people to send me deck lists to pitch me on a deck, and so I need you to convince me of a deck to play for the Pro Hero National.
Well, I'm going to convince you, all right.
Yeah, you've got something. So you've got something finely tuned, something scientifically sick, something dripping with sauce, as kids would say.
I spent an entire 30 minutes yesterday handcrafting this deck.
Okay. It's made with love. It's got that elbow grease in it.
Yeah, I put a lot of effort in this one because I am with you on not knowing what to play. Because this set just came out, it's shaking up the whole meta, and there's no info on it. So I'm starting from zero, baby.
Right. If there was one thing I could say, right, for anyone who's never played in a competitive event for this game yet, it would... thank you. Thank you, Hattiara, for the resubscribe. I got my notifications all live. Thank you for that.
Yep.
2 months. Big appreciation.
Wow.
But if there's anything I could say for anyone who's brand new, it's that there's no better time to start because the stakes are at their highest. You know, the risk to reward is at its best, and everyone is starting at, pretty much as low. I won't say at even, but they're starting about as low on the totem poles they're ever going to get, right?
Right.
The Tim Keefes, the Kevin Brobergs, the Jacob Johnsons, the Travis Tangements, they're all only going to get better as they're more familiar. But now is your chance to really swoop in and surprise people. So this might be your chance.
Speaking of surprises, that was kind of the theme for this deck. Now, I don't know what my hero cards do. What I do know how to do is do okay at a tournament.
Okay.
So, what I have prepared for you today to win Nats, we're going to jump into this nifty little PowerPoint that I've crafted in a solid 10 minutes. I have brought for you Funny Punch Shinso.
Oh, no. All right.
Because I figured if I don't know what I'm doing, and I can't be good, there is one thing I can do, and that is be funny. And I figured, why not play the funniest card in this game so far?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's called Funny Punch for a reason, right?
Right? I figured if it has that name, it's gotta be for a reason. Also, Tam killed me with this on stream, and I thought this card was really cool.
That makes perfect sense. I, too, am a stealer of techniques. If I get killed by something like Goku, I will inevitably use it later.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Now, before we break this deck down, there's a couple things we got to start with. We got to deconstruct how to win a tournament, right? First thing we need, surprise. As far as I've heard, there's like 82 characters. They all have 3 different decks, so we got like 250 decks you got to be prepared for. And some are stinkers, but a lot are somewhat viable, as far as I've heard. Now, what we got to do is we got to pick something at the bottom of that totem pole. We can't test against all 250, right? So we got to find something in there that we're just not going to be ready for.
Okay, I have to ask really quick. Yeah. Now, this is, depending on this answer, this is going to be really funny to me and some other people, but when you picked Shinso, did you pick him because people decided he was the worst character in the game?
People decide he's the worst character in the game?
So,
yes,
sorta.
That's exactly why I picked Shinso. 100%. All planned. All according to plan.
So I guess it's not fair to say they picked him as the worst. And he hasn't had a bounty put out specifically. However, you may not know this. At one point, Jacob Johnson, who I think might have been the leader in points at the time, where he had just won a regional, right,
Okay.
with Kirishima too, and people were talking about how he could top with any deck that he plays. And he actually put out a challenge, a poll on Facebook for people to pick a character that they don't think he could top cuts with, and Shinso won the poll as like the hardest character for someone to top cuts with, basically as a challenge. So in my mind, and because JJ didn't top that event, in my mind he's been the worst character ever since.
Oh, this is perfect. This you can't write stuff. This couldn't have been better. Now we're taking the challenge. We're taking the challenge, boys.
Yeah, because you said go all the way down, and I was like, wait a second, you're pretty new. How would you know?
We'll get into that. There is a reason I picked Shinso. There is a reason. But the
is
first
it plus 2 speed on everything?
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll
All right. We're getting to the surprise, though. I didn't want to ruin the surprise. I didn't know. It was killing me in my soul.
Yes. I don't even remember what the response does. Is it even good?
It's medium.
Yeah, it's fine, right? It's okay. First thing we need is surprise. Second thing we need speed, right? We're playing, how many rounds at regionals?
It depends on turnout. We're expecting like 8 minimum. It's a big one, right?
Alright, yeah, big 8-round tournament. If you're anything like me, my brain power caps out in about like 30 minutes.
Okay, so, half a round.
Right? So we need something that's just going to kill people fast and that isn't going to tax us, right? Because we get to those later rounds, people can be tired and be making misplays, and we're just going to play funny punch and they're going to die. That's all we got to do.
Absolutely.
So I needed something that could kill people quickly. Was my thing. I didn't want to play 40-minute Cementos games. I needed speed.
Yeah, we're looking for a lunch break every round.
Yes, that's also key. Staying, eating food, staying hydrated, getting that brain power, it's key.
Yeah, with the girl with the big hands, one of the things you can do with that hand, besides funny punching people, is those big hands can hold a lot of tacos. So if you
much tacos.
If you head out to the taco truck every round,
you might even hold some for later. You never know. She's also like one of my favorite characters from the anime, so I was like,
Ooh, okay, fair enough.
Get her in here. Third and final thing we need is efficiency, right? We need something that isn't just gonna brick on us, because we need to be able to win. If it's 8, right? We need to be able to win at least 16 games. We're trying to win 16 games, so we need something that is efficient at what it does. We're not trying to like go for some wacky weird combo or something weird. We need something that just does its job and does it well.
See, no wacky weird combo, but you did start this by showing me a card with combo mid.
That's a little different.
Okay.
That's a little bit. So first thing, surprise, which we've already kind of covered. No one plays Shinso.
Right.
Also, right? So no one's gonna be like, oh, I know how to take down. I've prepped for Shinso. I know this matchup. They're not gonna know this matchup. Half the people are gonna be like, what does this card do? I have to look at it. And by the time they do that, we're already funny punching them and they end their day.
Okay.
That's the plan. For the speed, looking at fast kills. We're looking at just as soon as we play funny punch, they die.
Yeah.
Pure speed, right? Shinso gets speed. Bad. Also, another thing I thought of: why not just make all of our attacks all do damage?
That makes sense to me. That's what they're here to do.
If you play Shinso under order, you get to play 12 mid throws.
Oh no.
We're playing mono throw funny punch Shinso. Look, this one even says draw a card. It's broken.
It does have the 3 best words in a card game on it. That's true.
3 best words. That's broken. So we are playing all throws. Next thing is efficiency. I don't really know what to say for this, so I figured we would just throw it to the list here.
Okay, yeah. I got the, I can... Let me see if...
How do you want to do the list? Do you want to pull it up or should I pull it up?
No, I got it. Boom, right there. It's on screen right now.
All right, cool.
Now it's on screen. I had to transition.
Now it's on screen.
Yeah.
We'll card for card it. Let me pull it up. I'll put it up on my phone because I can't see it on the Discord.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I've got it on the Twitch stream here. And,
perfect.
You know, I got to say, first impressions, right? If you're going to go all mids, then having throws makes sense. because mids are where like all the best blocks are, like all the breaker blocks for the most part, all the funny like haha you lose a momentum and take a point of damage blocks. They're all mids, and so I can see the throw game, right? And then people they're afraid of the speed. They probably won't think of a throw from a character that gives speed and not damage. So we've got the surprise angle.
We have now somewhat gotten rid of the one weakness of throws, and that they're all slow as balls.
Yeah,
now
okay.
They're all +2, and they're like a normal speed.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And what's really important about them being slow is that giving them speed unlocks... Well, we'll talk in the deck. I'm seeing some things.
I'm sure you're going to teach me a lot here about stuff that I didn't even know going into.
I will tell you my biggest fear when you first showed me the Shinso, which now that we have the full deck list on display for everyone here, my biggest fear was that you were going to have non-mid attacks, that you were going to change the zone to mid, and I was going to have to explain the rule on the combo keyword, because that was...
She says printed.
Right. It's it's one of the things...
I tried. Believe me, I tried. And then I read the card and I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah, it's one of the things that trips a lot of people up. That was... So we avoided, like, the earliest pitfalls here, but...
Perfect. We're on a good roll.
Tell me a card, I'll hover over it, and I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah. So let's just start with... I guess we'll just start with the throws, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll just go through a little throw suite, I'd say. If I click on the... Oh, there it goes. First throw that I really like is reverse throw.
Okay.
Because it just says if we hit them with 5 or more, we get the draw card.
Love that.
I think this is one of my favorite like mid throws that I found.
It is pretty much the first throw. It's the primeval throw of the game. It comes in the Deku starter deck. It has the reminder text, and it tells you exactly what a throw wants to do, which is put a bazillion damage on it.
Right? And that's what this deck is. This deck is all putting stats on cards and then drawing cards is another thing. We're playing Shinso as like a 9-hander kind of.
Okay.
Just a bunch of card draw. Because we just want to kill people as soon as possible. So we have stuff. We have reverse throw. We have the second like generic throw I got is we got grasping tape toss.
Okay.
I was reading this card and I was like, this all sounds like money to me.
It's so one thing that's tough. I don't know if you've watched any of my Stutters Tinker videos. One thing that gets really weird for people is they'll go through like a commons box, or they'll just go through like draft chaff, and there's just like no downsides on cards, right? There's There's no card that's like, oh, there's all this additional cost to... Well, there's some of those, I guess, but, you know, it's...
But, like, they're just few and far between.
But, like, all of these cards seem like they just have upside in, like, the average situation.
Right. Just something I wasn't sure if that's me being new and just missing something, or if these cards actually are just, like, all upside.
Yeah, usually what it really becomes is once you're in the competitive scene and you're going to events... If you follow the Top Cut deck list from Go Beyond Games YouTube channel, because he's the only one chronicling them, is you can see like specific evolution where people are like, oh, well, we had to play Tongue Whip to clog pools to deal with Plus Ultra, and then it became, oh, we're gonna play this card that fucks on Tongue Whip and clogging my pool, and so it just becomes, you know, adapting to really specific choices people make. And
it's very meta heavy calls.
Yeah. And it's really cool because unlike most games where I see that, people don't give up on an entire deck or have like a silver bullet card. Like in Magic, there's some decks that just can't beat a Dragon's Claw ever. I fucking hate that card so much. But so yeah, it's really interesting to see the fact that we can slap together like a bunch of mid throws with a colossal dunk here.
Right? That was my plan, was like, I'm so new, I can't prep for 200. I don't know what everything does. I don't know what counters what. So I was like, we're just going to avoid that whole process and just hit them like so hard. What they do doesn't matter. Because like one problem with Shinso is that he locks you into one zone, which is perfect for focus attack, because that locks you into one zone. So I was like, he telegraphs your entire turn, but if we're playing focus attack, we're kind of already doing that. And if we're playing all throws, it doesn't really matter that much, at least in my opinion.
Right. That's, that's if you're going to telegraph your zones, but they're still going to deal damage anyway, it's like you never telegraphed your zones, right?
Yeah, they're still going to hit you. Like, like, cool, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't really help you very much.
All right. And so tell me about this next one, because this is the one I probably have the biggest bone to pick with.
Sticky ball toss tackle?
Yeah. For one, no one can say its name right.
Yeah. Facts. Well, you see, it is the third order throw. That is all. Like,
I fucking knew you were gonna say that.
It's just the third.
You're like, I was going through the list and I figured I should have a 4 difficulty throw. Like, it's just the 4.
There's only 3 throws, and this one's a 4.
Right.
There's only 3. Also, I mean, if you play it like somewhat late in the strengths, it's a 4, so you probably will. If your opponent's been trying to block your throws, it'll just get more damage. And then if they don't block it, we can lock down their foundation so they can't block our focus attack.
It is the least favorite attack that you probably have to block on a kill string. I will say that.
Yeah, right? It's like, this is just a card where I'm like, you just have to, this gets a card out of their hand. So that they can't stop the focus attack. Like, you have to guard this.
All right. And then we have the honorary throw, the step throw.
The throw that's not a throw.
Yeah.
Tape swing.
The what are you doing step throw?
I hope. I'm gonna say that every time now.
I do in my head. I hate this fucking card.
I'm gonna say that every time I flick this because it's a 2 check, which is why I almost didn't want to play it.
Yeah. It hurts.
Because we need to get. Because that's the thing with this deck too. Is if it's like we get a turn to kill them, and if we don't kill them, we lose. Because we're a 19 health character. So flipping this is gonna suck. But then I read it, and I was like, if we change its zone, it does 8 damage. And then if we somehow magically end up with momentum somehow, we can do that to just change it by itself.
Right. Well, there's a couple other ways, but yeah.
I put in a couple other ways.
Yeah.
But if we stumble into momentum, we can be like, oh, here's 8 damage. And on Shinso, it's a 6 mid for 8. That's a throw.
Yeah, most people are pretty familiar with this card. It is, man, it is statted the way it is for a reason. This card is a powerhouse.
Right, and like, you play this, and if they get through it, they're like, oh, cool. Then you play Funny Punch. What do you do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's super weird because like with a card like Tape Swing, like theoretically you should never worry about putting speed on it. It should always be about the damage. And yet when you have an answer to it, like a Heroic Clash or a Faith Shield, if for some reason the zone isn't mid, like it gets so frustrating when it's like, well, it's actually 6 speed, I still can't block it.
Right, yeah. It's crazy. And that's all the attacks. I try to keep this deck at a hard 50, just so we can keep it mega consistent. Because also, if we don't see Funny Punch, if we don't see Funny Punch or Tape Swing, we don't do anything.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's only 17 attacks. I'm digging that.
Yep. So I try to shave it as possible.
Okay. Got a nice stability.
Yeah. I don't even know what high stability looks like, so I'm glad that it looks good.
Nobody does. It's a fake stat.
Yeah.
It means nothing. As far as I know, it's your chance to check a 5 overall.
Well, all of our foundations say 5, so hopefully we're doing something right.
Like, I don't know. No one's ever actually explained it to me, and I've seen this fucking stat here for 8 years.
That's great. It's just like the penny point, like having the back stat.
Yeah, someone who designed the old version of the website had like some great formula for us, and
there's some algorithm somewhere that just calculates all these things. Like,
and just didn't tell anybody. And actually, usually the best decks are the ones that either have like a near 3.0 stability because they have 4 attacks in them, and those 4 attacks are so good you just win if you draw one, fair enough. or they're 59 attacks and your character has some way to pass all those checks regardless of being mono 3s. So your deck stability is usually really good if it's extreme.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But that's, you know, that's given like format warping, usually a deck that gets banned pretty quickly type of a thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I want to talk about this action next up after.
Okay, yeah, this one I'm kind of, you know, medium on because of the sticky ball. Like, we got some 3 damage guys here. What's the deal with Flex Your Might?
I was like, well, first off, it doesn't count towards progressive difficulty. Sounds pretty free to me.
Okay.
And then I was reading it, and I was like, first form's really cool. Reveal 1 attack, they draw 2, which is basically we either have tape swing or we don't draw 2 cards. That's kind of how it's going to go.
Hey,
I'm pretty sure.
Sometimes your opponent doesn't have anything, and, you know, if they choose to reveal something and you have the 3 damage in your hand, you probably just don't reveal.
Yeah. Honestly, or we just reveal whatever we're going to play first.
Right. And say fuck it.
Right. Yeah, right? Then I was like, I read the response. And it was like, after our attack deals damage, they're all throws. Should be dealing damage.
Oh.
We commit a foundation?
Oh my.
So now, all of our attacks have like pseudo stun 1.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, it's like damage, step, stun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now as we're like throwing them into our funny punch, we're also committing their foundation. So we're just making it so they cannot block the funny punch. It's kind of our plan.
Right, okay.
Right? So it's
I'm
like,
here for it.
Right? So I thought also it has a 1 mid block, which seems pretty good.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah. It's it is pretty funny, yeah, when people look at the card, right, they're immediately like, play the 7 damage attacks, play the 6/5 diffs, but the card pull response is probably gonna be where you actually win the game, right?
I think so, yeah.
If your game plan, like if you need to draw 2 cards to win the game, it probably wasn't a turn where you should have been attacking anyway.
No. And we're a 7-hander. Like,
yeah.
We're not going to live and die by 2 cards. It's just like a nice bonus. We're like, if we go up to 9 with this, we're just kind of winning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the draw 2 goes, I'm not really here for it, but as far as the all my throws now have pseudo stun 1, I like it.
Yeah, it's just the draw 2 is just a little flavor on top. If we get to do it, it's nice.
Although that game where you rip the 2 funny punches off the top, you're gonna feel like God.
Right? And also getting to see their hand is kind of nice.
Yeah, getting a card. It's on theme. It's on theme with Shinso. It shares 2 symbols.
Theme. It's perfect.
Okay.
Let's talk foundations.
All right.
This is the hardest part for me when building any deck.
Oh, it's the hardest part for everybody.
I started this, what are we at? We're like 30-something foundations?
It is 31, yep.
31. When I built this deck, I just scrolled through every foundation under order and was like, oh, I like this, and just started adding stuff. And I was at like, I think, 80-something.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
So,
if you're just putting 4 of all the good shit, you end up with like... That's what I was saying earlier, is you're going through foundations and you're like, well, I need speed hate. Oh, well, I want to end their turn. Oh, well, getting rid of their momentum is good. Commit a foundation, shock treatments, that's my boy. Like, by the end of it, you're just like, wow, I have every card on the symbol.
Yeah. So what made most of the cuts was difficulty and block zones.
Yes.
That was it. But we'll go into the first one with Like the Wind.
Okay. Hit me up with some Like the Wind.
So we got little enhanced commit. It gets +1 speed, and if its speed is 6 or greater, our next attack gets +2 speed.
Making our throws really fast.
We can make our throws really fast. I don't think we play any EX or slams, so that doesn't really matter. We also don't want to be removing foundations from our stage. That's something I try to avoid, is foundations that blow themselves up. Because we need our foundations to do like anything.
They better save my life if I gotta blow it up.
Right. But this was a 2 mid block that just said we get to put 1 speed on something, and if we get it really high, which we have ways of doing, the next thing is 2 speed. So we can have like 8 speed funny punches. Probably even higher.
I can dig it.
Yeah, but I tossed that in. That's a 2 of, right? Just a little 2 of. Next one, we got Ice Gliding at 4. Kind of just like a staple, right? That card reads like a staple.
There used to be a card that just gave -3 to like a single attack, and it was probably the first staple that someone was like, when I started the game, they're like, there's no real staples, but if there is one, it was that card. And so this one is like in the same vein. It gives a total of -3. They just had to nerf it a little bit because it's too good to front load that. So this is probably the closest thing to a staple effect I could think of that doesn't draw a card.
True. Yeah, it's really good. I also love the fact that it says you commit it, you give your thing +1 speed, and then if they block it, your next thing is +1.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have, like, you got to figure out, do you block? Because if you're blocking the throw, you're still taking damage. And and my next thing's now getting more speed if you block this.
Right, if we're blocking a 5-speed reverse throw, that just feels really bad when the one you want to block is focused attack.
Yeah.
Okay,
so we're trying to... The plan here is we make them hold all their cards back to block the focus attack.
Mm-hmm.
And then while beating them down with throws, and then kind of like pseudo-stunning them, committing their resources, so that when we do play focus attack, they have like these cards, but they can't... It's so fast they can't block it.
Okay.
That's the idea. That's the idea. What's next in here? We got Rooftop Vantage.
Yeah.
I needed spams.
Yeah.
And I figured looking at our opponent's hand is...
top card of their deck.
Oh, top card, right.
Yeah, if you could look at their hand and tape swing, oh my. Whew.
Yeah.
Oh, dear me, the game enders.
Yeah, right? You're like, whoa. Knowing what they're going to check is super helpful, and it helps us just make a lot of decisions and how we're going to kill them. Because now we can try to bait stuff out.
And at worst, you can be a mental terrorist, and you can look at the top card of your opponent's deck and go, oh, hell yeah, and then start putting speed on something, and it just doesn't matter. Because
we're already playing all these throws and stuff. They're already like, oh, what do I block? And now we're like, oh, not going to like that one, buddy.
Yeah.
So that'll help.
I love to play Rooftop Vantage at my locals just to, like, strike up conversation about shit.
Yeah, it's great. And when it's a regional and everyone's playing all these super long game decks and they haven't been able to eat, now they're all exhausted.
And now you're just fucking with their mental. Love it.
Oh, yeah. They're dim. Next spam is Gotcha.
Okay.
This is for when we inevitably fail a check and have to commit some foundations.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do that, we just get to give something +1 speed.
That's true.
It's just I'm like, this is a spam that rewards me for when I'm bad. All right, I'm so down.
Yeah, and you've got all your low blocks covered now.
Yeah, that one's like part of low blocks. That's the one thing I needed was low blocks, and we're there. We got what's next? The way we change our zones. We got Think Fast, which is unfortunately unique. Which was unfortunate because I had this in at 4, and then I read the card again, and I was like, oh wait.
Man, if you could just like Tokoyami it up, baby, +1/+1s everywhere.
Yes, sir.
That would be a sick card.
Sick. Oh, it'd be so good. It'd be so good. But this is for like that moment of if we draw this and tape swing, we get to do the little tape swing shenanigans and make it really, really, really big. Because now this makes it what does it make it? It makes it like a 9. What's the speed on it? I don't know. It's some ridiculously high speed for 9 on a throw.
It would end up being like a 7/9 just to commit 1 foundation, yeah.
Right. Which seems pretty good to me. Also, +1 mid block. We like those mid blocks. Then we got
good impression.
Good impression of Atua. Yes. This is for because I'm really bad at checking cards. I'm so bad at checks.
Okay.
Every time I play, it's just attack. This is at Atua. It's if we find it, we can now hold this up for when we need to funny punch them to die. To flip this just to make it a little bit easier, and to just really help us pass that because we're playing it at the end of the string. So it's going to be the difficulty is going to be a little high. It's going to be like a 7. So this just helps us kind of pad that out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also a high block, which high blocks were the hardest thing to put in this deck.
Yeah. The easiest way to explain this is if your next attack is a punch, it's kind of like it counts for 2 foundations.
Right. That was the plan. Because So I knew I was gonna. I knew I was. At some point, I'm gonna go. All right, cool. Funny punch to kill you, and I'm gonna flip my 2-check.
Yeah.
So
that is the life.
Right. So this helps just to mitigate that a little bit.
Okay.
Next up, we got calling for backup. This makes us an 8-hander.
We love drawing cards.
Right, I was like, more cards we see, the better. If we hit Magical Christmas Land and we get to go flex your might, calling for backup, and we win the flexing your might, and we're at 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay.
we're now at a point where now even if we don't kill them here, we can now like build out super huge and have defense to like really. Now we can sculpt, and if we get a chance to sculpt with this deck, it's lights out.
Okay, all right. Yeah, calling for backup is probably the closest thing that I would think of to like a staple effect, and I still have seen people like trim this down to only like a 1 or a 2 of, and that kind of blows my mind. But I understand it. It's like a turn slower than passing the torch, right?
Yeah, like I'm playing it. I had at one point I had passing the torch in here. But this felt a little bit better because now I get to keep my foundation up when I use it.
Right.
Instead of committing, because I'm starting to play around that bad luck, that regional's bad luck factor I always get.
Okay.
So I felt a little safer playing this. But yeah, it's just we draw cards. What's next? Heroic Lineage.
Heroic Lineage.
This one's so cool. I thought this card was so cool when I read it.
It's like
so we get to like
It is also the closest thing to a staple if your character puts speed.
Right. I was like, we get speed. So it's like, first off, the bottom response is great. So after we get speed, which is straight up just Shinso, every time we play an attack that happens, we can commit this for +2, which seems pretty big as far as foundation pumping is concerned. But also, I tried to put as much like defense in here as we could, just in case we couldn't get there. Being able to just commit this and give their thing -3 speed.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. It's pretty good. So that's why that's in here. Also, low block helps.
Yep. It's got the biggest numbers you can find for its stats.
And that's what we're looking for. I was trying to trim this down to 50. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna keep the biggest statted things, and we're gonna cut the rest. Natural leader. First off, high block. So we really needed those. But also,
we actually have more lows than highs. That kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, I was sitting pretty at lows because all my spams were lows. So I was like, oh, we're good. The highs were a struggle. But natural leader, we just commit this. Everything we play is a mid, so we just do it whenever we want. We just 2 speed.
Love that.
Right? I don't think I really see us ever. Also, the first enhance, I don't know if we're going to use it, but it is nice to shut down any problem cards they play. Just to make sure we can just force through all our throws and we don't just get locked out of the game randomly.
Yeah, shut down a wall clean for a clutch throw.
Right? Especially because I don't know like what all is good, so I don't know like, what text to put. So this is a card that just it does what we want it to do first for our kill turn, but also it can function as a tech piece to make us not lose.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. It's a little double moded, right? It's a little modal. Both are better on offense, I find, most of the time, but, finding that use for... Because it does say this attack, so you could theoretically buff up the speed of your rival's attack to use with, the last foundation we're about to talk about.
Yeah, this one, I read this, and I had instant 4 of. I love this card. I didn't even know this card existed, but it's the last card. And if you just look up order foundations, it's at the very bottom. But it's got enhance, flip. If your speed is at least double its printed speed, it gets +2 or -2. Since we're playing throws, a lot of our throws base speed is 2, which means Shinso just naturally doubles our speed.
Right.
So the conditions for this card are so easy to fulfill. And it's a flip, which means you still keep the foundation up to commit it to pass checks.
Okay, yeah. This is when you showed this off in the PowerPoint, this is where it was like, okay, things are starting to click, right? We're playing the slow attacks that we don't even care if you block, but we're doing it to get bonus damage.
Yeah, it gets so much more damage. It's crazy.
Okay. I'm digging it.
Right?
So,
Right?
all
That's
right.
the list.
So this is the list.
Rocking with.
Is there anything else I should know about this list?
Playthrows, hope they die. Make sure you play Funny Punch at the end of the string and not at the start.
Okay, that makes sense.
Make sure you do that. Other than that, I have no idea. I don't really have. There's not a lot of in-game tech going into this. I've only played 2 games, so I don't even know what I'm like really supposed to be doing within a game.
Right.
So my idea was I'm just gonna build the most like monkey brain, straightforward. Like I play my own game. I don't really care what you're doing, because I'm just gonna kill you.
Right.
Whatever you're doing just doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about it. Right. Let's talk about going to nationals and a deck that I would play, because this is my show. It is.
Yeah.
It is about me. It is about me finding a deck. Now, this is also, I'm broadcasting to help anybody. So if you guys would play this, let me know, in chat on Twitch, or if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments if this is a deck that you would take to nationals, because I got to say right now, it's a pass for me, but we'll talk about it, because there's a lot of really cool stuff here. But when it comes down to a deck that wants to sort of do its own thing, that is very common for a lot of card games, and it's very difficult in universes, strictly because of going second is not the same as it is in a lot of turn-based games. When it comes to going second, like, if you're, say, like a red deck wins, I don't know how familiar you would be with Magic, but I assume...
I've played like every card game,
essentially. Yeah, the basic entry level, right? So with those decks, right, like your turn 1 drop is probably still better than the turn 1 of non-red decks, right? Like,
you're going Goblin Guide.
Yeah, we're gonna drop Ragavan, and it doesn't matter what fucking dork a green deck puts on the field, right?
Right. You play your Elvish Mystic. What's it gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to universes, like that assumption doesn't really hold true. Like your turn 2 as a aggressive deck, going second is just going to typically be worse than if you were to go first, like comparatively, because even a defensive deck, even a wall deck, and again, outside of like the Dragon's Claw example where the red deck just says, all right, fuck it, see you next round. Like, I'm not going to waste my fucking time while you mark your pen and paper every time I play a card,
Right, yeah.
Also, the reason, by the way, playing Toga in person is really fucking annoying. Because you -1/+1 your life every fucking attack pretty much. So I just get tired of doing that.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I forget so many times.
I sided Toga in the first Vegas regional, and I played Toga in Pasadena, and I was just miserable fucking doing. I think it affected my psyche, so.
Without a doubt.
But yeah, so when it comes to that, like usually I'm looking for a strong defensive trick. I'm looking for, even in the super aggressive decks, I need like a breaker 2. I need like a turn stopping card, right? So I'm looking for sticky balls on the order symbol, like clog that card pool. They can't play attacks. And now, granted, this could a lot of this could be solved by a sideboard, right? This could be something that you're like going second, I'll just side these cards in, right? So true, I get that. Right, yeah. But when we're looking at like losing a dice roll, going second, having some of these things set up, in our main board, it is pretty important. A lot of the times, once people are acclimated to cards, it's 100% control. So if there was a time to run out an aggressive deck like this, we talked about it, the Pro Hero National is the time to do it. If you wanna surprise people and get the jump on them, this is actually, a way to do that. But I did see the chat talking about something, and this is something that you might have seen too while building the deck, is Sarah 1 on order changes zones. And pretty much all the Throw Hate, Faith Shield, and the one people I don't think are going to be playing the one-check Heroic Clash, a lot of that stuff is mid, so you can still get like a lot of card draw incentives by changing the zones. You can get like Think Fast. You can snipe their throw hate. Like if you do send out a throw, the first throw, if they want to fully block it, like they pretty much have to spend their throw hate on it. So it can be the kind of thing where you protect your combo, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because Sero basically gets to once per game thought seize you on a full block. So like you can full block your rival's attack, look at their hand and go, oh, you have a face shield? No, you don't. Fuck off. You know?
Yeah.
Because
it's great.
Yeah, because one of the big things for this deck right now is you're not only losing to Faith Shield because your throw deals no damage, you're going to lose to it because it fucks up your combo, because it flips the attack face down.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much relying like on a late game situation for like Tape Swing to be both your lead off and like your actual kill card, if it's not Funny Punch, right? Or if it's, depending on the sequencing a lot of times. But other than that, this is a deck I would absolutely take to my locals. This is a deck I would absolutely love to play. I would have a ton of fun playing it. I will say the good impressions needs to be something else.
Okay.
I know you're bad at. You said you were bad at checking, and I 100% get that.
So scared. Yeah.
It's the kind of thing, right, where if you replace this with like a Fulfilled My Duty or just like a strong defensive foundation instead of this, you'll find that you'll have a lot more success just building for 2 turns and then attacking on turn 3, right? Or just having one extra turn where if you can play out a bunch of cards from your hand and use your stage to defend for 1 turn, you'll have a much better time passing those checks or powering through a bad check.
Okay, makes sense. I wasn't sure it was with him being at 19 life. I wasn't sure if it was one of those situations where I'm like, I shouldn't focus on defense, because if I try to focus on defense, I'm just going to die anyway, because I'm at 19.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how prevalent that was.
Yeah, it's tough because in my head, personally as a vet, like that 1 health doesn't matter at all. And yet I've seen it where like a 6 hand size 26 character is like somehow unplayable just because they have 26 instead of 27. Like it is, I think it matters a lot less for 7-handers, but we have now 13 has 7 hand size and 22 life, and people are going goo goo gaga over having 22 life. So I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, that was something I worried about, because I didn't want to like commit to playing this defense game and I'm being like, that actually doesn't matter because you're at 19, so you're just gonna die. Regardless.
Yeah. Oh, I do have someone in my chat mentioning that gotcha doesn't work when passing checks. I might have missed that earlier. If you commit it, it has to be during the enhanced step, which is like fully after that game event. So, but
that's awkward.
That one's pretty normal. That one's like, that's when I think I had to double check. Like things that say, during the enhanced step is usually pretty clear, but during this attack is the one that still gets me, because during this attack is not after it's played, which is so annoying to me, because after it's played it should be during it, but it's not.
It's not?
Yeah, during this attack is specifically after the enhanced step has started. It is specifically the enhanced step, the block step, and the damage step is during an attack. After that, it resolves. Yeah.
Okay.
And, so, like, the erase action gets fucked on by responses, by, like, Jiro and, like, characters that say response after an attack is played. And then the one I'm waiting for at Nats is people to play Twisting Azure Inferno with response actions. Like, if you play Eraserhead with it and you erase somebody, you can't respond with Azure Inferno yet. It's not a legal response yet. It has to be during the attack.
Because you're playing a different card now, so it doesn't even...
Yeah, so like I can't remember the exact wording on Azure Inferno, and it's a tangent, but it's specifically like, because it's printed on an attack card, the rulebook says it has to be during the attack to play it. So it's like, I don't even think it's written on the card anywhere. It's just like how it works. One of those
rules things.
It's just like how responses on action cards work. Or it probably says after you play an action during this attack, but either way, it doesn't work at response time.
Interesting. Yeah, good to know for all you going to Nats.
Yeah, I made the deck. I made the fucking Eraserhead deck with Twisting Azure Inferno and was like hyped to do it. I'm like, fuck yeah, seal your character, get bonus damage.
Hell yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, thank you for showing me this deck. I love the concept. I'll say that. I absolutely love the concept. When it comes to the tournament grinder in me, this just feels like the kind of thing where like there's so many different things in the meta that can affect this attack lineup, and I would say actually it's super funny that as a 7/19 you want to prioritize defense more in practice. Like when it comes to like really defensive decks, it's been a little different in My Hero because of the specific characters who've shined, but they're characters with strong defensive abilities as six-handers. They're Momo, Kirishima too, right? They just have defense printed like so obviously on them. But like really good Asui decks that aren't like bannable from trying to aggro you out of the game have been wall decks, right? Eraser head decks are like glacially fucking slow defensive decks. And it all comes from the fact that having one extra card to block with is worth 6 health. It's worth the entire health that attack is worth. And so you don't get to block with your face, you get to actually block with another card. And in my mindset, if you want to do like the aggro version, I would suggest trying it with Zero, because he can block with his face that one extra time, and he runs a really fraudulent kind of offense, so I think it would work. But even still, I love the idea of like calling the mid zone, having all the throws, and like
now we get to play the Shinso game. You get to do the challenge. You get the street cred.
And I guarantee you, if you show up and reveal Shinso as your starting character, they're not going to be expecting all throws.
Not at all. There's no way. That was one thing. I was looking at Sarah a little bit, but I felt like if I was going to do Sarah, I would just build a different deck.
Right.
I feel like,
He's and as a six-hander, you'd have to prioritize a little more card draw and other stuff. But yeah, I want to thank you for joining me, man. I had a ton of fun.
No problem. So fun.
I love the PowerPoint, by the way. I'm a huge fan of the presentation. I love the work you put into it.
Thank you.
I'm gonna plug you real quick. For all the people at home, we got the guest info, the YouTube. Go check out BaconSaver there.
Yes, please.
Any shout outs, anyone you want to call out to before I get my next guest on?
Be on the lookout for the next Nat Killer. It's Gran Torino, where every card in the deck says you discard a card. It's like you can't block, and they can't block if they don't have a hand.
100% discard Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely gonna be on the lookout for that one because I hate discard decks with a passion.
That's what I'm thinking about.
The first Pro Tour circuit I ever got to Grand Finals in, I was literally the only person mainboarding anti-discard cards. Went up against the only discard deck at the event, used my anti-discard cards, and it caused me to lose because it said when you discard this card, draw 2 cards like recovery time. But it also said your opponent can only play attacks for the rest of the turn, which is supposed to be like a ha-ha, fuck you, your turn is over kind of thing. And it made him go, oh, I guess I'll play this attack that kills you instead of ending my turn.
Like, I guess I'll just kill you instead, sure.
He was literally like, well, I have to check a 6, but here we go. Bam, hit a 6, and I was like, why? Why would you do that?
That's insane.
And it's because I made him do it. I made him kill me. So I'm forever salty about discard.
Dude, that's fair. Remember, chat, it's always better to be lucky than prepared.
He prepared by putting the 6 in his deck, I guess.
That's my takeaway. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, just play all 6s. You can never lose.
Yeah, he was like, you know what? I guess this is a play.
I'll just try to kill you, I guess. Oh, alright, let's just win.
Alright, man. Well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Yeah, I'll upload this to YouTube. You can check it out, share it around. I hope to see more from you in the future, bud.
That's the plan. I can't. Maybe at Nats. I think about it. Could be chill.
Oh, you're going to be at Nats? 100% confirmed?
I don't really know.
All right, let me get my next guest because I got another pitch coming in.
Yes, of course, dude. Good luck. I hope this is the one.
I'm hoping so. It'll be a short series.
True, yeah, that's fair.
All right, man. I'll see you around.
Night. See ya.
All right. Oh, I've disappeared. I'm gonna